The Long Island Iced Tea. The T-O-double-D. You're listening to Perched on the Top Rope.
Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, we also have a wrestling pay-per-view. We're filled with wrestling pay-per-views this weekend, and this is one that I'm glad that we have the fans back for. As you notice, I have the WrestleMania 37 picture of everybody in attendance behind me because I could not find a picture of SmackDown, but I put this up because I also wanted to show my appreciation for the fans being back in attendance because I watched SmackDown last night, and it's so much of a better feeling to actually be able to watch wrestling with fans again. One of the reasons that Lee and I think were so burnt out on the wrestling product before was because there was no fans in attendance. There was no reaction. It was just you put whatever you want on TV, and we have nothing to say about it. But now that the fans are back, they have a voice, and they're going to use that voice tomorrow night when WWE brings Money in the Bank live to pay-per-view in Fort Worth, Texas. So, with that being said, on the pre-show, we have Dominic and Rey Mysterio defending the SmackDown Tag Team titles versus the Usos. Here's my question. The Usos are in the main event slot of every SmackDown. Why the hell is this match on the pre-show?
Maybe to punish Uso for
Jimmy. It could be. Because that doesn't really make sense to me is why I feel like the Raw Tag Team title match is the one that should be on the pre-show because they barely built to it. But that's just me. I'm going with the Usos. Jimmy may have gotten in trouble lately, but this storyline revolves around Roman Reigns, and Vince is going to push this narrative regardless because Roman's in it. And for that to work, the whole entire stable needs titles. And with that being said, I've got the Usos winning the SmackDown Tag Team titles tomorrow night.
You know, I actually like that. I'm going to go with that.
Okay. That was easy. All right, then. We have, once again, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. I hate this because this was a dream match for everybody a year ago, and we would have said that we wanted to see it over and over again. But the problem is every time they do this match, they get a cheap finish or like it's never an actual clean finish with these two, and they're kind of diluting the feud down because of it.
I mean, I'm going with Rhea Ripley. I don't know why. Honestly,
I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley, too, only because as much as I hate to say it, there's only one person for when Becky Lynch returns for her to feud with to bring her back in front of the fans, and it's Charlotte. And I don't think they're throwing Becky. They're not going to throw Becky immediately into the title picture. They've put too much effort into Rhea Ripley in the past 6 months. And so they're going to want Becky in a feud with somebody who's not currently holding a title so they can lead up to her most likely winning it back, I'm going to say, around WrestleMania of next year. So that being said, that person has to be Charlotte, and I don't think Charlotte's going to be holding a title for that. So I'm going to say Rhea Ripley wins the championship, and we actually could possibly see the return of Becky Lynch tonight. I know I've said that on other pay-per-views this week. Not this week. This year. My bad. Can't speak. But it's actually noted that Becky Lynch is going to be in Fort Worth, Texas this weekend. She's going to be backstage at Money in the Bank. Whether she's going to be on the show is not yet to be determined, but if she's there, I have a feeling they're going to use her. So I almost say she might return tomorrow night.
We'll wait and see.
I know, because she's been backstage at like all the big shows and has not returned yet. So who knows what's going to happen. So we're going to agree on that one. All right, we're 2 for 2 on agreeing for predictions so far. Moving on, the match that has almost zero build to it, AJ Styles and Omos versus the Viking Raiders for the Raw Tag Team titles. Please let the Viking Raiders win and let AJ Styles go back to the main event.
No.
This tag team is not working. It's not successful.
It's only to help
Omos
there. That's it. And because of that, he and AJ win.
Yeah, I have a feeling they're gonna win too because this whole tag team. I have a feeling is gonna eventually lead to AJ Styles' babyface turn. They're gonna split the two of them up eventually. And AJ, like Omos is gonna like try and bully him or something like that, and AJ's gonna fight back, and then they're gonna face each other, and AJ's gonna lose, and blah blah blah.
Yep.
I as much as I want the Viking Raiders to win, I'm gonna agree with you and say it's AJ Styles and Omos. With that being said, let's go to the WWE Universal Championship match. We have Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Edge. My favorite. My favorite. Dude, the pop that Edge got on SmackDown was unreal. And it's crazy because the fans have been waiting for that for over a year now because after he returned, there was only like 2 matches before COVID shut down the entire world. The fans barely got to see Edge live. They saw him a couple times after the Royal Rumble and then at WrestleMania earlier this year. So it's going to suck when he loses tomorrow night because Roman's not losing the championship yet. He's about a month away from holding the title for a year. He's not going to lose it. Unfortunately, I love Edge. He's my favorite wrestler ever, but he is not winning.
I want Edge to win, but it's just it's Roman.
It is Roman. This next world title match prediction, I almost said that I thought that this match wasn't completely predictable until it was basically announced that Goldberg is returning on Monday. Bobby Lashley versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship match. I almost actually thought Kofi might be the guy to take the title from him with the way the storyline was going. But then it's been highly rumored that Goldberg is coming back on Monday. And if he's coming back, he's challenging Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. He's not challenging Kofi Kingston because that's not really a dream match. That's not going to draw money as much as Kofi is as great as he is. That's just not like a dream match that people have been waiting for. Not that Goldberg Lashley is either, but it's closer. So with the planned return for Goldberg, Bobby Lashley wins this match.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do like about this feud is I think with Xavier Woods winning against Bobby Lashley last Monday and Kofi most likely losing tomorrow night, I almost think you might start seeing a little ripple in the New Day because you might see Xavier Woods get a little cocky about his win over Bobby Lashley, whereas Kofi himself didn't win. It's going to be an interesting dynamic if Kofi doesn't win. But
I gotta agree. I think that could be a breakup for him, but
yeah. I literally almost thought Kofi was going to win this until they announced Goldberg coming back.
Oh, I already had. Once they announced Goldberg,
not that it's officially announced, but it's highly rumored, and you know how that goes.
It's highly rumored, and we've already posted on Facebook and Instagram,
right,
about it. So
yeah, we wanted Lashley versus Lesnar. We get Lashley versus Goldberg. But I mean, from what I've also heard, that's not really on the company. It's more so that apparently Brock Lesnar isn't currently interested in coming back just yet.
That's because they told him he was going to lose.
Right. And I also, from my understanding and from what I've read, this could be true. It could not be true. From my understanding, Brock Lesnar's return, he's more interested in the possibility of the Paul Heyman Roman Reigns rivalry as well.
Yeah.
Which I think if Brock Lesnar comes back, SmackDown's the right place for him because you've got a universal title match that if they can't get The Rock for WrestleMania next year, babyface Lesnar versus heel Roman with Paul Heyman in the middle is money. So, Bobby Lashley on that one, though. Moving on, we are going to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Asuka versus Naomi versus Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Ash, almost a superhero, versus Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega versus Natalya versus Tamina.
So I've talked about this, that WWE on Fox Twitter, or it was WWE on BT, the British channel,
Mhm.
made a post with a graphic, and on it said who will become the first two-time Money in the Bank winner. That got my brain stirring. And talking to Rob, who's not here tonight,
All right.
rip, we he had mentioned, well, Carmella's already a two-time Money in the Bank winner, and when you go to her Wikipedia page, it says that.
Which is funny because she technically only was able to cash in the briefcase once, but
Yeah,
they consider her two-time because she got it stripped away from her the first time.
yeah. So the mere fact that even though Asuka hasn't, like, in my mind, done much, I have a feeling that if the company that is airing the show posts that,
Mhm.
well, in my mind, they have one of those two made up in their mind that it's going to be one of them. And in my mind, realistically, it's more going to seem like Alexa Bliss, just because on Raw her push is greater right now than Asuka's.
So
I think,
basically, you're saying they're going to want an actual two-time winner,
yeah, that's the way it came off.
right?
But when, if you look at who has the best push right now, it's kind of Alexa. I mean, Selena just returned, but it looks like she's going to have a feud with Liv Morgan outside of Money in the Bank.
Right.
And then between Nia, Shayna, Alexa, they're going to have their spots in the match where there could be the breakup of the one tag team. And then you have Natalia.
Well, Nia and Shayna aren't in the match. Tamina and Natalia are.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, you're fine.
Wow. So,
There's a lot of people in this match.
So I mean, they're the tag team champions. They don't stand a chance.
No, because they're gonna have their other stuff they've got to do.
Yeah.
So you're going with Alexa Bliss, huh?
Yeah, I'm going with Bliss.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can see Alexa Bliss from the Raw side. She's the favorite. With the booking and the storyline telling that they've done, though, on the SmackDown side, I could also see Liv Morgan winning this match because they've made a story out of it for about the past month now. That could be a good feel-good moment. If they're going with a feel-good moment for the fans, Liv Morgan's going to win. If they're going for a heel moment, it's going to be Alexa Bliss. It's going to be one of the two of them, and no matter who wins, I have a feeling that the two of them are going to be the last two standing on the ladder before the match ends. Because everybody else kind of has their own thing going on. Nothing against Zelina. I think they're going to probably want to work her up into a bigger program. They could go with the shock factor and have her win, and that establishes her immediately. But as you said, her and Liv Morgan are also feuding. I'm going to go with Liv Morgan. Just because I could see with the storytelling they've been doing that they put it on her. And moving on to the last match, we have the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Ricochet versus John Morrison versus Riddle versus Drew McIntyre versus Big E versus Kevin Owens versus King Nakamura versus Seth Rollins. This is probably one of the most exciting men's Money in the Bank ladder matches that we've had in years.
And this one's going to be very difficult to basically pick somebody.
Yeah, because there's storylines that could be made out of this match for like half of the guys in the match.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the one match I kind of wanted to take some time on and talk about the different outcomes, because I was texting you about one possibility that I had thought of the other day, which I'll get into in a minute, but we can go with our predictions first. So after you.
I don't want it to be Drew.
No, because Drew's going to get a world title match eventually. And I have a feeling that's going to be more towards like WrestleMania time.
He just came out of the world title picture, so like move on.
And he's also basically got a feud with Roman Reigns waiting in the future.
Yeah, I don't want to see Seth Rollins just because I don't like Seth Rollins.
And also, if rumors are to be true, Seth Rollins has a match with Edge coming up here at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, so there's that. I would love to see it be Ricochet or Big
Yeah.
E.
This is one of the hardest Money in the Bank ladder matches to predict in the year.
Only because the way they've been pushing him, I'm going to say Riddle.
Riddle. What's funny is that I actually am choosing the same person, and you and I talked about this the other day. I'm also going to go with Riddle because Riddle has been on a roll lately. I think a lot of people are going to automatically assume that Drew McIntyre is going to win the match, and he very well could. I won't be super upset if Drew wins the match, but if he wins the match, they cannot let him cash in immediately. He has to wait, because if you have Drew McIntyre cash in immediately, the fans are going to turn on him because they're going to be tired of seeing him as world champion. If Drew McIntyre does win, he's got to wait like a solid 6 months before he cashes in.
Oh yeah.
But so him winning, I don't think is the end of the world. Him cashing in and becoming champion again immediately, I don't think would be good for him. But other than Drew McIntyre, the way that everybody else has been on a roll lately, I'm also going to say Riddle. And with that, I'm going to go into a small rabbit hole, real small one. And I'm going to talk about the possible fantasy booking for this one, because I had texted you about this the other day. And here's an idea. What happens if at SummerSlam, Goldberg defeats Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship? Matt Riddle has won Money in the Bank, and everybody knows that Matt Riddle and Goldberg haven't exactly gotten along for a couple of years. The fans know that. I know it. You know it. What happens if we get to SummerSlam, Goldberg wins, and all of a sudden Matt Riddle comes down with Money in the Bank, and you almost immediately see a turn of his character. He doesn't come down with the goofy face, like the 420 I'm high all the time character that they've got him going with, and he turns more towards his UFC background and obliterates Goldberg and wins the WWE Championship.
I think that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be a matter of Goldberg having the control over the character and saying, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
Right. But also, for all we know, with how the business works, they could have squashed this beef forever ago and could just be keeping it going.
Yeah.
Like Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, they weren't a big fan of each other either, but it wasn't even revealed until a couple months ago that they squashed their beef a while ago, and they were just playing into it around Survivor Series last year. So, I mean, it's entirely possible.
I'm sorry.
What was that about?
I was doing the Seth Rollins.
Oh, the Seth Rollins pose.
Just kept his eyes closed with his hands on the rope.
Yep. But yeah, no, I could see them. So if Riddle wins, I could see them going with a small feud with Goldberg, and then you move on to a feud with returning Randy Orton, who hasn't been seen in a little bit, and then you build between the two of them. Big E wins, hypothetically. You can see him going into that program with Roman Reigns that everybody's been dying for. You see Kevin Owens winning. He could be a guy that could switch over to another brand. When Bobby Lashley turned heel a couple of years ago, he did so by beating the living hell out of Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens still has a little bit of revenge on the mind towards Bobby Lashley. Shinsuke Nakamura is currently being pushed slowly up the ladder again, too. So that could be something. Seth Rollins, literally, Ricochet's been being pushed lately, too. The only person, as sad as it is to say, the only person I really don't see winning this match is John Morrison.
Yeah, and that's...
They've reduced him and The Miz to comedy characters.
Yeah, which, I mean, we had all these hopes that they were going to come in and they won the Raw Tag Team Championships, and they were going to be big, and Miz was going to have the championship, and him and Morrison were going to feud, and it was how Morrison was finally going to become WWE champion.
See how that went.
And they went with Lashley.
Yep. So, I mean, there's not hope isn't lost for John Morrison, but also at the same time, right now is not going to be his time, unfortunately. But I do think he and Ricochet are once again going to be the highlight of the entire match if their recent matches on Monday Night Raw have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
they need to drop this whole dripstick, the water gun thing. You got to have him drop the Johnny Drip character and base his character more off of his parkour moveset. You know what I mean? Something like that. That's what they used to do. And he was borderline in the world title scene. So get back to that. But as far as the actual match winner, I'm also going with you, and my pick is Riddle.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you hit subscribe so you can get all our content here at Perched on the Top Rope. And fans, remember, spoiler free's the way to be. I'm out.